So the last example I want to take a look at today will be using various cool advanced Java intermediate operations to print a suffix slice. So what the heck is a suffix slice? Well, we'll talk about that. And the suffix slice says start from a particular word like la, and then print that entry followed by anything that comes after it. So if you go ahead and say, I want to print la, or from la, that'll print la and T. Not C. I'm not sure why it says C. Must be the Spanish version of the song. So what we'll do is print a slice of the stream from la to T while ignoring all the entries from do to so, if you remember your do, re, mi song. And this is going to show collect and grouping by, which we've already looked at, as well as dropWhile, which is this very interesting aggregate operation, which, as I've realized recently, is stateful but not short-circuiting, as we'll talk about. So here's what we do. We have a list of the results, so do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. We turn that into a stream. So we have a sequential stream of results. We output that stream of results, and then we do collect grouping by. So now we've got intermediate operations that are triggered, and we're going to group the results into a map of strings to list results, just like we did before. So we have a map that groups words with the indices where each word was found. And now we're going to do something a little different. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that map and we're going to convert it into its entry set. The entry set of a map is basically a set that contains a map entry which has key and value pairs. So we have a set of key value pairs called an entry. We turn that into a stream, so now we have a stream of key value pairs. And this stream of key value pairs is then going to be passed to the dropWhile intermediate operation. And what it's going to do is it's going to drop everything until we find the word we want to start with. So if the word is la, then it'll ignore everything till we get to la, and everything from la onward will then be fed as the output of that stream. So we slice the stream to contain the remaining elements after dropping the subset of elements that don't match la, if we're doing la. So remember, dropWhile is a stateful and run to completion operation, because once it skips over everything, it'll keep running until the stream is done. The not equal implementation basically says, is it not the case that the key in the entry of the stream of map entries equals word? So we're going to keep dropping until we reach one that matches. dropWhile differs from filter since it doesn't need to examine the entire input stream. I guess I should probably rephrase that a little bit. It examines it up to the point where it figures out that there's a match, and then it stops and it just has the stream passed on to the next part of the stream pipeline. And the last thing we do here is then we print out all the results, much like we did before. And notice in this particular case, we're going to be using the stream forEach, not the map forEach. So this is forEach on the stream, not on map. So that's the end of the visualization. So the last piece of the puzzle here is how do we actually implement all this stuff? And we'll take a look and see how it works with Java. So here's printSuffixSlice, and we start out by turning the list of search results into a stream of search results. We then collect everything together, much like we had done earlier when we talked about just printing the results. We're going to make a map that has the words, the do, re, mi words as the keys, and we'll have a downstream collector, which will be the list of results. We're going to store this in a linked hash map, so we get things back in the order they came in, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, etc. And that's the factor method we'll talk about later that creates a downstream collector. We then convert this map into an entry set, and then we turn it into a stream. So now we have a stream of map entries. And now we go ahead and apply the dropWhile method to slice things by skipping over all the entries in the stream until we match our word. And at that point, dropWhile says, I'm done. And it passes on a stream that will then be printed out the rest of the way by calling print result with the key and the value. And so We talked earlier about how we did print result. This is the same implementation from print result that we had talked about earlier. And notice that this is the streams for each method, not the maps for each method. And for that reason, because it's not the maps for each method, we have to do this particular way of writing this code where we take the entry and then we go ahead and call print result on the key and the value. And that's how we stream everything out. Here's the not equal implementation just for completeness. So it takes an entry and a word, and it checks to see if the entry and the key equals the word. And if it equals, then it's equal. But we want it to be not equal, so we can keep going until we finally reach the end of that particular portion of the dropWhile. And that's the end of this example.